If you were the Prime Minister, what is the first thing you'd say to Donald Trump?
First thing I would say to who?
To Donald Trump.
No! Say no!
I hope he gets impeached before I get to speak to him. No, but on honesty, the reason is, I mean, I say that in a little tongue in cheek, but to be honest with you, I would say it's disgusting that a president could inflame hatred against people and be so divisive. It's horrible that someone in a position of power like him would allow for kids to be stripped from the arms of their parents, from their moms, to be put in cage. That needs to be denounced. You can't allow someone like that to do that without any sort of repercussion, without anyone else condemning that. And I would condemn it.
So that was NDP leader Jagmeet Singh telling the truth. And yes, while there was a bit of a joke in there, he was being quite serious. He was talking about how Donald Trump is a bad person and is a bad representation of what America is and has done awful things using the office of president. And that world leaders in some cases have been too reluctant to call him out. Canadian leaders maybe more than most. And Jagmeet Singh is saying, I will not be one of those leaders. That if I am Prime Minister, one, I hope this man is impeached. And yes, he was joking, but also Donald Trump should be impeached. So maybe Jagmeet Singh was only kind of joking. But if he isn't impeached and I become Prime Minister, I will tell him his actions are abhorrent. We're not going to sugarcoat the reality. We're not going to cover up the truth to protect the feelings of Donald goddamn Trump. We're just not going to do it. Not the NDP. The Liberals, they'll do that. The Conservatives, they might even roll over more to Donald Trump. The NDP, we won't do that. We will call a spade, and we will call, racist discrimination. We will call human rights abuses. We'll do that because that's what we need to do. That's what the supposed Canadian values are. All these values that Trudeau supposedly embodies, this bold Canadian vision that we bring to the world, that we're not afraid to speak the truth to power. And yet, with Donald Trump, we do almost nothing. We allow the Safe Third Country Agreement to keep flowing. We allow Donald Trump to say these things without sufficient condemnation. We have Justin Trudeau, subtweeting Donald Trump, but not altering our policy to challenge him. We have our leaders aligning with Donald Trump on major foreign policy positions. It's unacceptable. Donald Trump has taken America in a very ugly direction. And while Canada's friendship with the United States will endure Donald Trump, we need not pretend that Donald Trump is normal or acceptable. He's not acceptable to Canadians. He's not even acceptable to a majority of Americans. Canadians do not like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is unfit for office. He's corrupt. He's a human rights abuser, and he has no place being welcomed as a legitimate, positive world leader. It's as simple as that. Jagmeet Singh is 100% right to say what he said. And while he said he was joking again, I kind of hope he wasn't, because it makes it even more powerful. Jagmeet Singh is the only Canadian leader right now willing to say things like that. We don't need to kowtow to Trump like Trudeau has or Scheer would. And some people in the media have been like, oh no, this is not very prime ministerial. And oh no, why would Singh say this? And that would endanger the relationship with the United States and blah, 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 blah. And it's like you can feel the monocles dropping into the floor at CBC headquarters and at CTV headquarters. But the reality is that all Jagmeet Singh is doing is telling the truth. Donald Trump is a monster. Donald Trump is abhorrent. Donald Trump should be more vigorously condemned by any nation that believes itself to have human rights at the forefront, and by any leader and any party that views itself as progressive. And we haven't heard that enough from Justin Trudeau, and we haven't heard that enough from, the Canadian state. We've let Donald Trump largely get away with things. And of course, we can't stop Donald Trump from doing much of what he's doing. The USA is a sovereign country. But with things like the Safe Third Country Agreement, we could change things. We could declare to the world that the United States is not safe for refugees right now, and it isn't. None of that is a lie. None of that is politicking. The real politicking is what Justin Trudeau and Andrew Scheer are doing, which is ignoring Donald Trump's human rights abuses and sweeping them under the rug. Jagmeet Singh's just telling the truth. I mean, is that politics? Maybe. But, I mean, truth-telling is truth-telling, whether it's political or not. This is real leadership. I don't care what the CBC punditocracy says about respectability and prime ministerialism. This is leadership. Speaking truth to power, speaking your honest truth, sticking up for the marginalized even when it is unpopular or even when it is controversial. This is what leadership is. Leadership isn't taking Ivanka Trump to a play. Leadership isn't legitimizing Donald Trump's human rights abuses and hateful language and hateful rhetoric. Leadership is challenging bad people whenever possible because bad people should be challenged. And everyone who's saying, well, Canada we can't anger Donald Trump. It's like, do you want to look back in the history books and look like a bunch of soft-willed, appeasers of hate and intolerance? Is that what you really want to look like? Do you want to look like the people who turned a blind eye to Donald Trump? Who said, well, it could affect the GDP by 1 or 2 points. I guess human rights don't matter anymore. Like, get out of here with that bullcrap. Like, Jagmeet Singh is standing up for Canadian values when he calls out Donald Trump, and no other leader, certainly not Scheer and Trudeau, are doing that. This is Jagmeet Singh at his best. It is Singh being strong. It is Singh being passionate. It is Singh standing up for basic human rights for all those people who don't have a voice. This is what a prime minister should do. This is what a prime minister should sound like. And this should be Canada's next prime minister, who will stand up for Canadian values at home when he fights for healthcare and dental care and childcare and better access to education and housing. And he fights for Canadian values abroad, which is to not kowtow to the Saudis or to Trump and actually stand up for Canadian values, even if it's not the traditional way that a liberal or a conservative prime minister would handle things. We need real change in this country, and it's not just on domestic policy, it's on how we relate to the world. And the first thing we can do is speak the truth about Donald Trump. I'm glad to see one Canadian leader is finally doing it.